Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to study a shear stress distribution in beams. Okay, so in this topic we will see how the shear stresses are transferred from the in longitudinal direction or in transfer direction. Okay, before starting of this topic, I'm assuming that you already know about a little bit about how the bending stresses are generated in the beams. Okay, so we'll come to the topic. So basically, we have the shear stress distribution in the beam. To start the topic, we need to understand what is shear force and what is shear stress. Okay, so I'll explain this thing with the help of an example. Okay, that will be easy to understand. So let us suppose I have a beam over here, which is simply supported. Okay, and I am applying a point load over here, right? So this is applying of point load will result into support reaction P by 2 here and P by 2 here. Okay. Now to understand the shear, what shear stress or shear force. Basically shear means to cut. Okay. So I make a one cut over here. Okay. And I magnify this cut. So when I magnify this thing, it looks like this. Okay. And applying in this P load will be here. Okay. Now this is the reaction force. This is reaction. Okay. Now to stable this portion, I need to have some force. Okay. That force will be in downward direction. Let us suppose this force is it. Okay. And to stable this thing also, I need to have some force that will be in upward direction. Okay, because if I join those things, these forces need to cancel each other. Okay, so in this portion, this force will be in downward direction, and and for this portion, this force will be in upward direction. So here you can see that this force will try to move this member in downward direction. Okay, and this force will try to move it in this portion in upward direction. Okay, so basically this force is trying to shear the beam at this portion. Okay, if I didn't provide any shear resistance at this point or anywhere in the point, then that beam can shear off. Okay, so this force are due to these forces the beam can shear off. Okay, due to these forces the beam can shear off. Okay, so basically these are the resistance forces, or you can say that internal shear force. Okay, which are generated at the surface. Okay, which are generated at the surface. Suppose this is where I have made a cut over here. Okay, so to balance this force, here force is applying in this direction, and again opposite to for this portion, this force is applying in this direction. Okay, so these force will try to shear off this beam in opposite direction. Okay, so that's why we are calling it as a shear force. Okay, so these are basically internal forces. Okay, internal forces in case of beams. Okay, so what I will do. So basically, this force is basically a resultant of a shear stress. Okay, resultant of a shear stress means what? Suppose this is a cut portion. At this portion, some shear stress will be there. This portion, some shear stress will be there. So this F is nothing but resultant of this shear stress. Resultant of shear stress. Shear stress acting along the cut. Okay, and this it is also called a transverse shear. Transverse. So it is also known as shear transverse shear. Why we are calling it transverse shear? Because this is the longitudinal axis of the beam, and this force is acting perpendicular to the longitudinal axis. So this is also known as transverse shear. Okay. Now we'll see how the this shear stress is important. Okay, and how the beams fail in shear. We'll see simple examples. Suppose this is the beam over here, simply supported beam, and I'm applying a load P. Okay. So if this beam need to be failed in shear, so first the maximum shear force will occur in this direction. If I draw the shear force diagram of this beam, so maximum shear force will act will act like this at the support. Okay. So if this beam fails in shear, that this can fail. This will fail like this. Okay. The shear crack will form like this. Okay. These two members will will result in shear force. Okay. These two members will rub against each other. This is the basically the shear field. Okay. And here also the crack will develop like this. Okay. This thing you will study in reinforced concrete design. I'm just telling what is the shear failure basically. Okay. So it will be take place where the maximum shear force will occur. In case of suppose wooden beams, we might have we have seen some you can see some failures along this longitudinal axis of the beam. These failures due to horizontal shear stress, horizontal shear stress. Okay, because when this beam bend, vertical shear stress will be also generated simultaneously. Horizontal shear stress is also generated. Okay, if the wooden fibers are not able to provide the required shear resistance, then this horizontal stress may exceed that resistance which is provided by the fibers. Okay, if that exceeds, then it may result in the failure. It may result in the failure of the beam like this. Okay, this is my failure frame. So this is the basically simple example which I have given that how the shear failure will occur in the beam. Okay. So now we'll see. We have started when the load is applied on the beam. When the load is applied on the beam, we'll have one horizontal shear stresses and one transverse shear stresses. Okay. So we need to calculate the both. We need to calculate both of the things. We need to calculate both. Okay. But we'll use the concept of the complementary shear stress in this lecture. How with the help of horizontal shear stress we can calculate the vertical shear stress. Okay. So we'll see. Again, I'm taking simply supported beam. Okay, and the thickness of the beam is h. Okay, and the cross section is rectangular cross section, which is b by h. Okay, this is a rectangular cross section of a beam. Okay, I'm talking about this cross section. Suppose if this is the beam, this cross section I'm talking about. Okay, this is b into h. Okay, so if I apply the load over here at p at center point. Okay, and at a distance of x, I'm considering one element dx. Okay, I'm considering one element over here dx. Okay, so what is if I consider this, if I separate this element, okay, at this portion there will be some moment m1. Okay, in this portion there will be some moment m2. Okay, shear force. Let us suppose here B vertical. Okay, B vertical shear force, and this portion here will have downward shear force, which is of same magnitude because there is no load at this portion. Okay, so the shear force will be same. Okay, so what I will do over here, first I will check when this element is subjected to different moments. This here the moment is m1, here the moment is m2. Now you can see that this top fiber will be in compression. Okay, this top fiber will be in compression. Okay, and this bottom fiber will be in tension. So I am taking this plane I'm taking this plane. Okay. So why I'm taking this plane? Because I need to calculate the horizontal shear stress. Okay, for horizontal calculation of horizontal shear stress, I need to have some plane. Okay, so that's why I've considered some plane over here. Okay, and if I draw the cross section of this beam, this portion, it is rectangular, so it will look like this. Okay, the cross section may look like this. Okay, and this is the length. This is the length delta x. Let us assume this length is delta x. Okay, so this is the cross section. Okay, this is the front view, and this is the cross sectional view. Okay, when I am applying the load, when M2 moment is applying in this direction, so the compressive stresses will act on this surface. Okay, better to draw like this. The compression, this is the neutral axis of this portion. Okay, so up to this portion there will be compression stresses will be there. Okay, actually I need to draw in this 3D. Okay, this is the let us suppose this is the cross section of this element. So the compression stresses will act up to this neutral axis. Okay, so if I'll draw this thing in front view, it will be more clear. So this, okay, this is compressive stresses, this is tensile stresses. Okay, this is compressive again, this is tensile again. Okay, so this is this view only, this is front view only. Okay, so what I'm doing over here, and this is my similar plane in the cross section. Okay, so if I look into this, if I look equilibrium, if I separate this plane, if I cut this plane out, if I cut this element, so it will look like this. Okay. Now, and I know that M1 is less than M2. Okay. So the forces, these forces, the force component of this stress will be more than this thing. Okay. So now what I do over here, at this cross section, at a distance of y, I'll consider one element. Okay. I'm taking one element whose cross section area is dA. Okay, at a distance of y. Okay, this is my neutral axis. This is the plane which I'm considering. Okay, where I will calculate the horizontal shear stress. This is the at a distance of y. I'm considering one element of area dA. Okay, and if I consider the equilibrium of this portion, if I consider the equilibrium, if I consider the equilibrium, if this is the one area I am considering dA. Okay, now total force. Now I will calculate how much total force will be coming on this area. Okay, this much area. So for if I this is due to M1 and this is due to M2. So if I need to calculate M1, I can write it at like this: sigma 1, sigma. Let us suppose this is sigma 1 into dA. Okay, This is what now. For this element I am calculating, then I am integrating. So this will be my total force. Okay. Again, from this side, I can write sigma 2 into dA, right? And in horizontal direction, my fx should be 0. Okay, my fx should be 0 for the horizontal equilibrium. So then I will need some extra some force which is required to balance this unbalanced force which is generated due to bending. Okay, to counteract this thing, this extra force, I need to have some force at this horizontal plane. Okay, let us suppose this stress is tau. Okay, so I can write plus tau d tau delta x into b. Okay, this distance is what? Delta x. So my total shear force will be what? The shear force will be acting in this direction. Okay, so this delta x into this width will be total shear force. Okay, which will be balancing this extra shear force. Okay, so this should be 0. Now sigma 1 I can write m1 into y into what? I. Okay, and sigma 2 will be m2 into y over my I. The second right now, y will be same. Okay, so what I can write over here, this is m1 I into y integration of dA. Okay, integration minus m2 into y over I into dA. Okay, plus tau delta x into b. Okay, I'm assuming that the shear stress, this tau, is constant throughout. Okay, it is constant throughout, means it is constant along the width Okay, it is constant along the width. Okay, width and this direction. Okay, so if I solve this thing, so I can write m1 minus of m2 over my I into integration of y dot dA plus tau delta x into b, right? So this thing okay, so this thing direction is okay. This we can take negative, this we can take positive, this again negative. Okay, so this is positive, this is negative, this is positive, and this is negative. So I can write over here m2 minus of m1, minus tau delta x b equals to 0. Okay, so m2 minus m1, what we can write? M2 minus m1 we can write m2 minus m1 we can say m2 minus m1 we can write delta m. Okay, delta m integration of y dot dA, okay, upon my I equals to tau delta x into b. This I can write. Okay, so integration of y dot dA will be a into y bar. Okay, a into y bar means what? Area of this cross section complete into y bar is centroid. Okay, so this thing y bar equals to tau into delta x into b, right? So if I again solve this thing, so tau will be tau is equal will be delta m by delta x into a into y bar upon my b into I. Okay, so if delta x tends to 0, if delta x tends to 0, if tau equals to delta x tends to 0, I can write del m by del x. If delta x tends to 0 equals to dm by dx. Okay, so I can write dm by dx into a into y bar over में I into B, where B is the width of the cross section. Okay, so A by bar I can replace it with capital Q, and dm by dx I can replace with what? Shear force. Okay, so tau equals to V into Q over में I B. Okay, so this is the horizontal stress which we have calculated. This is the horizontal stress which we have calculated. This is the horizontal stress which is applied at this point. Okay. Now if we look carefully in this figure, what is happening? This is my delta x element. Okay. This is the plane which we have considered to calculate the horizontal shear stress. Okay. So and these are the forces. Okay, so to balance these forces, the horizontal stress is acting in this direction. Okay, this is the thing. Now what is now we have calculated this is horizontal shear stress. Okay, horizontal shear stress at a level at a distance of y. Okay, horizontal shear stress at this level we have calculated. Okay, now we need to calculate what is the transfer shear, because basically our main purpose was to calculate the transfer shear. Okay, now transfer shear, how will we calculate the transfer shear? This is the dx element. Okay, this is the dx element. We have calculated the shear stress tau in this direction. Okay, now equal amount of complementary shear stress, shear stress will be generated in this plane also. Okay, if the how can I say that, if this tau stress is generating at this plane, the same complementary stress will be generated at this point. Okay, and what will be the direction that we will see. Okay, so this is our the basic analysis which we have studied. Okay, if suppose this is the direction of tau shear force. Okay, to balance this shear force, one upward shear force will be there, tau. Okay, and to counteract this moment, shear force need to be act like this. Okay, so these are complementary shear stress, complementary shear forces, shear force or shear stress. Okay, so I have calculated the horizontal shear stress. With the concept of complementary, I have calculated the transverse shear stress. Okay, so transverse shear stress at this level will also be equals to tau equals to V into Q over में I into B. Okay. If we look into this figure, suppose this is my cross section. Okay, this is my neutral axis. Okay, and I'm considering this plane. I'm checking what are the direction of shear stresses and those things. Okay, so if okay, so I'm taking one element of dx length, taking one element of dx length from here. This is my dx length. This will be dx length. Okay, this is not dx. This is cross section now. Okay, so okay. So in our इसको थोड़ा we'll make it bigger. Okay. So what we have analyzed, I have took one strip of a strip at this portion. Okay, from the cross section, I have taken one strip. I am checking the what is the direction of the vertical shear force. Okay. So what I am doing over here, what I have calculated, I have calculated this this shear stress. I have calculated. Okay. This is the width B. This is the width B. This is the height H, and this is the depth. This is the dxn, which we have taken from here. Okay. So along this dx length, I am getting some shear forces in this direction. Okay, this is in horizontal plane. Okay, this horizontal plane. Horizontal plane means what? This is the dx element. This shear stresses will be acting in this direction actually. Okay. Now the complementary of which will be in this direction. Okay. The complementary of which will be in this downward direction. Actually, the shear stress which is acting in this plane, horizontal shear stress, and this plane are perpendicular to each other. Okay, I'm talking about this plane. This is where the tau is acting in this direction, and for the complementary to generate, the vertical stress will be acting in this direction. Okay, so this is the cross section of the beam. This is the cross section of the beam where tau is acting in this direction. Okay, and this is B. This is dx. Okay, so my vertical shear stress will be acting in downward direction. Okay, that direction we can check depending on the direction of the horizontal shear stress. So this way we are calculating the first we have calculated the horizontal shear stress. Horizontal shear stress developed due to bending, and with the help of we have calculated the with the help we have calculated the vertical shear stress. Okay, or you can say that transverse shear stress. Okay, now some point to be noted here. At the top of the beam, at the top of the beam, our shear stresses will be zero. Okay, at the top of the beam, our shear stresses will be zero. So our vertical shear stress will also be zero over here. Okay, at the bottom portion of the beam, our horizontal shear stress will be zero. At the bottom portion, okay. At this top portion and this bottom portion, this is the figure. Okay, at this horizontal at this point there is no surface. Okay, so the horizontal shear will be zero, and this portion also there above which there is no surface, so horizontal shear force will be zero. Okay, so at this point the vertical shear force will be also be zero. Okay, so this thing we need to take care. And if we come to this figure, if we come to this formula, the horizontal if we come to this formula, the horizontal shear stress will be maximum where the q will be max, where the q will be max. Okay, okay. So q will be max where? At what point q will be max? Q will be max. Q is what? Q is what? Q will be max at the neutral axis only. Neutral axis. Okay, because this whole area is contributing to it. Okay, and there is some y bar also. Okay, because area because what I can say that this at this point neutral axis, the whole area above is contributing for the this tau. Okay, so this a by bar will be max at this neutral axis. So the our horizontal shear stress will be maximum at the neutral axis. Okay. So if the horizontal shear stress is maximum at the neutral axis, our vertical stress will also be maximum at neutral axis. Okay. So generally our vertical stress will diagram will look like this. Okay. 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 Or better to provide insight. Okay. It means what? It means what? At the top portion, this is my cross section. This is my cross section. B into H. B into H. Okay. So at the top of the cross section, at the top of the cross section, let us suppose here my vertical shear stress are look like this. Okay. When I move little bit down, the stresses will increase. When again I move down, it will again increase. Okay. Then at the neutral axis, it will be maximum. Then again it will come down. Okay. Then again little small. So you can see that at this portion, the neutral axis portion, our shear stresses are maximum. Okay. So this is the distribution of the vertical shear stress, how shear stress are distributing. Okay. In the same way, the horizontal shear stress will also be maximum at the neutral axis. Okay. This thing we have seen from here also, and and also you can understand by like at the horizontal section, total compression, the difference of compression force will also be maximum. Okay. So this is the way. So in this, so this is we have checked the variation of the shear force, how the shear stresses are distributed in this beam. Okay. Now there is one more term. We have tau equals to V into Q over I into B. Okay. So now we'll introduce one term over here, tau into B. Tau into B equals to V into Q over I. Okay. So this tau into B is what? This tau into B is what? This is shear flow. This is shear flow. Okay. Meaning of which is shear. This is what this meaning of which is what shear force per unit length. Okay. It can also be called shear force per unit length. Okay. And it will be used in built up beam. It will be used in built up beams. Okay. How? Let us see. Okay. We'll do some problem on this topic also. If I'm unable to make you understand how the shear stresses are vary through this figure, we'll again discuss this thing in problem in detail. Okay. So don't need to worry. Okay. So shear force per unit length. This is shear force per unit length. Okay, let us suppose this is my simply supported beam, and I want to make some built-up beams. Okay, built-up beams of different. What I will do, I will stack some material, some low quality material, or you can say that in built-up section we can take advantage of this thing. Okay, means combining low material we can get some strong material. Okay, so if I keep one nail over here, if I keep nail over here, okay, and this is the top view, and this is the top view. I'm keeping nails over here. One nail here, one nail here, one nail here, one nail here, one nail here. Okay, at a distance of S. Spacing is S. So what is meant by the shear flow? Okay. So we have already studied that a horizontal shear stresses will be there. Okay. So horizontal shear stresses at this moment, at this point will be what I can say that horizontal stress will be the variation of the horizontal stress will be, I'm assuming the horizontal stress is constant. Okay. So this is the variation of the horizontal shear stress at this portion. At this portion, I'm assuming the horizontal stress like this. Okay. So what is the shear flow basically? This is my horizontal stress distribution. Okay. So Horizontal shear flow means it is basically what ki force per shear force per unit length. Okay, it is basically what shear force per unit length. Okay, so if I multiply this by total length, if I multiply by this by total length, okay, total length, let us suppose L. Okay, total length, or you can say that let us suppose the spacing which we have provided is S. Okay, so if I multiply with total S length, so this is the total force, this is the total force, this is the total force which will be taken care by these two bolts which will be taken care by these two bolts. Okay, these two screws, or you can say that this amount of forces which need to be taken care by this bolt. Okay, similarly, we can calculate for the other forces also. So shear flow is nothing but it is a shear force per unit length. We need to multiply it with the length or the spacing of the nails to get how much force is transferred to the nails. So basically, the shear flow concept is coming useful in this section. Okay. So I think you need to visualize how the horizontal shear force is transferred to the vertical shear force. Okay, guys. So we'll come up with a problem in this. We'll see some problem over in this regarding this lecture, and the things will be more clear to you. Okay. So thank you very much, guys.